Welcome to Ask the Good Doctor. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire on Sirius XM Urban View, Channel 126, where talk empowers and becomes action. And we are here to attain, maintain, and reclaim your perfect health. So thank you for joining us. You're not going to want to miss a moment of this conversation because we have got joining with us today one of our very own channel mates, and she is none other than Sylvia K. Alston. Please jump into this conversation at Ask the Good Doc on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook on Ask the Good Doctor. Welcome, Sylvia K. Alston. How are you?
Hey, hey, hey. How are you, Dr. LaJoyce? I feel
I
like it's
am
been so
well.
long since I've seen you.
I know it seems like it's been ages, and I'm telling you that I had to have you for this conversation today. We've been having very meaningful discussions about all things COVID related, and we have got to be able to talk about our insurance needs. And you are the lady, you are my go to lady to have conversations about anything insurance related. Talk to us a moment about insurance in the face of COVID.
Well, it depends on what, standpoint we're talking about. The insurance industry is thought to be very small, but it's a tremendous industry. It runs all across so many different business and personal and individual verticals. We can talk about how COVID has affected the life insurance application process, right?
That's okay. Let's start there.
Yeah, that's been a big one. Honestly, our business work. We work with successful individuals and families on attaining and creating generational legacy. And so, in March, when we first got the call that we were gonna shut down and just like not return to our offices or to work, I was worried because, of course, as a young business owner, I've only been in business since 2019. I was
Mhm.
fearful that for us, it would mean that our business would be severely impacted.
Yeah.
I think what COVID did do is that it turned the light on for
Mm.
so many in our community about getting our financial houses in order.
Yes.
And, people started running, really, literally, I mean, running to the phone and to email and to our website and just kind of
Mm.
slammed us with response, because people realized, this thing could be over soon. And they
So wait a
wanted to
minute. Let
get,
me do. If I hear you correctly, when you all were supposed to be in the midst of quarantine,
oh,
your
we were,
business actually amped up.
it was actually unbelievable, LaJoyce. Like,
Wow.
I was, what's the word? I was happy, right? Because
Hmm.
it wasn't just that it was COVID, it was all of the racial and civil unrest too.
Yes.
People were very intentional about the fact that they wanted to do business with Black and brown businesses, and unfortunately there are not a ton of Black and brown insurance brokerages around the country.
Mm.
So that left an incredible opportunity for us to kind of like corner the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Which is best case scenario. That's of course what you want. Worst case scenario, you won't want it to happen in the middle of a pandemic when, everybody has hung the shingle up on the door and basically said, we'll see y'all later. We're going to make sure that we can stay alive. Right. And
Right.
so for me, it was um, every moment of almost every day, the anxiety and the fear and the frustration over, am I going to be able to keep my own family safe,
Yes.
coupled with, I've got to help people figure out and get their financial houses in order and get their business straight.
Mm.
I can tell you that the industry made almost an immediate response, that what they wanted to do was, because of course, when you do a life insurance exam, it's a pretty laborious process, right?
Absolutely.
You have to either invite people into your home to do medical
Yep.
exams, or you have to go out to clinics or
Yep.
doctor's offices and submit for testing for that information, for that medical information to be considered. Well, all of that stopped during COVID. All
Wow.
of it. People were not walking into people's homes, and people were also not walking into doctors' offices. And
Mm.
so,
So,
what
okay,
happened?
how did they handle that?
How did we handle that? We handled
Yeah.
that where the insurance industry basically came out and said, we are going to approve anything that comes across the desk as long as we've got some medical history in place, some recent
Okay.
medical history in place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you and your cousin Bubba or your uncle Leroy have not been to the doctor in 20 years, chances of you getting approved for an insurance policy now, not happening. But if you've been consistent about your health, with what you tell us to do, which is
Yes.
make sure that you're scheduling regular appointments with your doctors,
Yes.
staying on top of your primary care physicians,
Mm-hmm.
having your mammograms and stuff done. If there's a medical,
Thermograms. Thermograms.
sorry, thermograms, if there's a medical footprint for you, you've seen your dentist, you've seen your PCP, you've seen your GYN, then we can use those records to qualify
Mhm.
you.
Okay.
And so that's what the industry
It-
did for
So wait,
about 6 months.
that's unprecedented. Has that ever,
Completely.
you've
Never.
worked in this industry 20 something years. Has
Never
that
seen it
ever?
before. Never seen it before. Never seen it before. And doubt that I will see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it caught on, because we were like singing it from the mountaintops, like, hey y'all, some of this medical underwriting has been toned down for you to be able to get in and get your insurance.
Yeah.
But what we did find wound up happening, LaJoyce, is that people who had been exposed to COVID, or people who had COVID and recovered, were no longer insurable. And
Pause.
okay, I
Pause.
knew I knew you wanted to. I knew you were going to want to park
All
right
right.
there.
This is the conversation that I wanted you to have. Are you kidding me
I'm
that
not.
people, I need you to repeat that slowly. And like
Okay.
Uncle Joe says, put that where the goats can get it.
Yeah. So if you've been exposed to COVID, and if your body presents the antibodies, like so much of the testing is doing now, showing us the antibodies for people who've been exposed to COVID, even if you are asymptomatic, non responsive, if your blood work shows that you've been exposed and have the antibodies for COVID, in most cases, you become uninsurable for life insurance.
What?
You become uninsurable.
Is
You be-
that because it's considered pre-existing?
it's not because it's not just because it's considered a pre-existing condition.
Go
It
ahead.
becomes because it's such a viral threat to
Mm.
your health that you become uninsurable, much like a recent cancer diagnosis, much like a chronic kidney illness, much like an autoimmune illness that will prevent you from then being able to purchase a level of insurance. COVID-19 is putting, if you've been exposed and you've had the illness, it is putting people in predicaments where they are no longer able to attain life insurance.
Sylvia K. Alston, what you say, what you say.
Yeah.
What are the millions of people in our community who are more susceptible to becoming infected because of their pre-existing conditions, their comorbidities?
Yeah.
What in the world are they supposed to do for insurance if they are uninsured?
I've had this conversation a lot very recently. I had a conversation with someone dear to me, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I've had a conversation with someone recently who um is a family member, and they have never been the person in their marriage who's handled the financial business.
Hmm.
And their spouse is now ill with Alzheimer's. And for years, they let them handle the business information for their family. And so, information, policy info lapsed, no longer, in effect. They no longer have life insurance, and because they now have a progressive and advanced illness, they
Mm.
are no longer medically able to attain insurance. And so
Well,
I can tell you that over the last 7 months since we've been dealing with COVID, I have had some of the most heart-wrenching conversations with people inside of our community and on the show. You know,
yes.
it's been such an eye-opening experience. You know, when I think about the fact that we were already behind the eight ball, already behind so many other demographics and communities in terms of planning for our legacy. And then now when I think that this is just another barrier to entry
Yes.
for us to be able to handle our, the creation of financial legacies for our families. And what makes all of that worse is that you've never seen something happen. Normally when people pick up the phone to call you for life insurance, it's one of two reasons. It's because they had a family member or a friend who had someone die and they didn't have insurance, and they
Mm-hmm.
were able to listen to that story, and that prompted them to say, well, you know what, I don't have my business in order, let me, get this A, B, and C together. Or there's been a change or something, there's been an immediate change in their insurance makeup.
Yes, yes,
They've
yes.
just gotten a divorce. They just got a new job. They just had a new baby. Like, that's normally the times when people actually, where it triggers a thought to say, oh,
Life events.
a life event. I need to check and make sure that everything that I have is in order.
Mm-hmm.
COVID made everybody realize you don't have it in order all at the same exact time. So when you couple a pandemic in with our comorbidities and our poor health,
Mm.
and then the response to that is the industry saying, hey, we'll take all comers, but you got to be healthy. And now we realize how many of us are not healthy.
Girl.
It is, it's a sad and sobering time.
Listen, the you have been issuing forewarnings
Yeah,
a long time. I
yeah,
was just telling I was like, oh my goodness, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary.
yeah, we are.
4 years we've
Right.
been teaching and educating the community on this Urban View channel.
Yep.
And this platform has been invaluable. So thank you, SiriusXM. Thank you, Karen, for allowing us to be able to pass on this information. However, if you didn't listen
Yeah,
to anything that was said prior to now, and it
yeah,
has taken a pandemic to shake you into hearing our words.
yeah,
Get your financial house in order, get your insurance in order, get rid of your comorbidities, your underlying issues, and let's get well, healthy, wealthy, and wise.
yeah, yeah. No, you're so right. You're so right, sis. I mean, listen, you've been doing this work since I met you. Um, by the telling of your own story, and letting us know that it was your good health across the span of your life that saved your life.
Amen.
Um, but so many of us, I think we all operate from a space of I have more time.
Listen,
And
so you don't.
right. And I think we all found out this year that no, you do not. You do not have more time.
Listen,
Uh,
everybody, listen, Pastor Brookshire wants to speak to you right now.
Chaplain, come on, Chaplain. Come on, be Chaplain.
There's a time to live and a time to
Yeah.
die.
Mhm.
There is not one thing on earth that lives perpetually.
Mhm.
Not a blade of grass,
Mhm.
not a seed. It sprouts, it bears fruit, it dies.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not those pretty roses that you were given for your birthday. Nothing. Not your dog, not your cat, not your rabbit or your gerbil.
Yeah.
Nothing. And not you.
Mhm.
We are a society, period, I think, that are afraid of death, Sylvia, and especially afraid to have the death conversation. So when you have gotten these calls because people have been shaken up over the pandemic,
Yeah.
these are people who have not wanted to face their own mortality, period.
Yeah, we are a very superstitious people, and I'm not sure where
Mm,
that comes from. You know, I don't know if
mm.
that's folklore. I don't know if that
It
is
is.
it is okay. I didn't know,
It
like,
is.
maybe if it's the traditions within our culture. You know, my husband, I've always made my husband uncomfortable around my conversations around death because I've worked in the industry. And so, when I buy new life insurance, and I am the type of person that I will go out and buy a new life insurance policy just to add
Hmm.
on and stack, right?
Yes.
And I've made him uncomfortable when I say, "Hey, baby, this one is going to be for you," or "No, this one is going to be for mom," or "No, this one is going to be for," I make him uncomfortable with those conversations. But I feel as if in this day and age, if you're not having the conversations about how your family carries on after you're
Yes.
gone, then you're not doing your due diligence.
Nope. You're
Can
not
we
doing it any favors.
you're not can we say we love our families? You
Yeah.
know, for me, that's where I am in this day and age. For us not to be having these conversations, for us not to be doing our due diligence around the conversations that we need to have with our family about our health. And LaJoyce, let me tell you, this year specifically, I've had to confront, um, because I'm well insured because I work in the industry. But
I,
that
I'm
does
not. I'm not. I don't work in the industry, and I'm well insured.
but that doesn't mean that I'm very healthy.
Okay.
So what I've had to do is confront my own BS
Yeah.
and say, look, sis, however you've been doing this up through and to now, it is not working for you.
Yeah.
And you've got to change course. And you and I have conversations behind the scene, and I've told you some of the things that I'm doing to make sure that I get back into a healthy space because I look at my gene pool. My father died at 48 years old.
Yeah.
Um, I'm 43. My father's illness presented at 44. I'll be
Wow.
44 in less than 3 months.
Okay.
When I start thinking about coming up on the end of life, and none of us truly know, but I do think that we can do things to make sure that we can expand or increase our life here on earth. And I'm now at this space where I'm evaluating that because I want to be here to raise my own children. you
That's
know
right.
I want to be here to make sure that my daughter gets walked down the aisle with her dad. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see my kids walk across the stage and get their degrees conferred and watch them buy businesses and start jobs and start families and buy homes. I want to be here to see that. And I
Yes.
think we don't talk that way enough. We think it. We do think it because we're a thinking, feeling people. But
That's
we don't
right.
talk that way enough to one another, to our family members, to our friends, and then we don't plan. And I am just in a space in my life where my plan is in place, but I haven't been talking my way through some of these conversations the way I should, and now I'm acting on my health in a way that I haven't before. And so,
Oh,
and COVID forced me to deal with that reality.
yeah.
I had friends die at the same age as me this year.
Of
I
course.
had a friend with COVID who was a Newark police detective, and he recovered from COVID and just dropped dead.
Wow.
So, and this is some of the reason why the insurance companies are denying people who've been exposed to COVID because it's the lingering of disease.
So here's the thing I want to talk about on the other side of the break when we come back. I want to talk about the children who are in New York and Newark who are about to go back to school.
Yeah.
And with this news that you are dropping on us today, what that does to those who could possibly have the antibodies as children.
Mm.
So don't go away when we come back more with Sylvia K. Austin on Ask the Good Doctor after this.